right, good evening. We're calling the meeting to order at 6:06. We don't have quorum, but we'll go through the things that we can. So we'll start with roll call. Yes. Mr. Walpole?
Here.
Mr. Pothinger? Mr. Reed?
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Mrs. Coatsy? She's on the Mrs. Coatsy? I don't think she can hear.
She should be.
Mrs. Coatsy?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Mrs. Byler? Yeah. Mr. Rocky?
Yes. Yeah.
Chair Oglesby? Present. Mr. Ward? Mr. Saunders?
Can you hear me?
Mrs. Fanchi? And this is Brett Simmons. Yep. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you. So let's stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So now we have quorum and we'll continue business as usual. So first with the approval of minutes, we have to approve minutes from May and June. Didn't get it. I'm sorry. Oh, listen. Okay. If you didn't get a chance, they were sent in advance, but take a few minutes to look.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'm sorry. We can't make a motion to approve. We don't have a quorum. Oh, we do that. Nizar came.
Yeah, but we need 6. Even though she is on Zoom, we can't vote.
Are we at 7?
It's meeting 6 now.
Oh,
Did you tell her about
we
something?
had someone who resigned.
Yeah.
Okay,
We have 11.
so we're at
Okay. All
the
right. So yes, so we can go forward with the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the May minutes.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so the motion passes unanimously.
I'll make a motion to approve the June.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
I'd also like to say I love that my daughter is mentioned in minutes for her pickleball comments.
We like the next generation of Parks and Rec board members, for sure. All right, so at this time, we're going to invite Todd Hom up for the e-bike ordinance discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So I came here a few months ago to talk about e-bikes ordinance, and at that point, it was just an idea, a framework of what we wanted to tackle. A few months have gone by. We've done a working group with Parks and Recreation, Transportation Mobility, as well as the police department. And now we're coming to you guys just as a refresh and really just a general update as to what's coming down the pipe for eventual first reading on September 15th. All right, so while we're here, operation inside parks, beyond the parks, and then a general timeline. So while we're here, really the problem at hand was a speed mismatch between pedestrians and these e-bikes on shared paths as well as sidewalks, in addition to damage for the athletic fields. The perpetrators were largely of a certain age group, so the basis of what we were trying to regulate really came down to that, and also building the ordinance for something that could be expanded upon and generally enforceable over the next several months to years. So what we're really looking at for micromobility devices and really isn't conventional bicycles, nor is it the e-motorcycles that travel upwards of 28 miles an hour. What we're really looking at are e-bikes, e-scooters, e-skateboards, hoverboards, one wheels, and any other electric contraption that may come to the surface, which are there are a lot. But since I came, the last time I came, there was an update. So generally, we were framing the ordinance to fall in line with the state statute. That state statute has thus been vetoed by the government. So what it required was a yield to pedestrians, an audible signal, a requirement to slow to 10 miles an hour, and then a non-moving traffic violation that fines up to $100. What this means, though, is that the city can craft its own statute, but it has to fall within the confines of any city-owned parks or city-controlled sidewalks. So it leaves us the latitude to govern parks, sidewalks, although A1A is excluded because that is a state. That is within the state jurisdiction. So what we've crafted is a general prohibition inside parks for e-bikes and e-mobility devices, on park pathways and sidewalks, on riding on recreational trails, riding on or near athletic fields of turf, and riding on public plazas and promenades. So what we wanted to do is really discourage the use and tendency of someone entering those areas, including the turf areas as well. What's still allowed is walking your e-bike through the park. You can park at designated racks within the parks, and just to note, you can also ride your park on the park roadways. So the basis for which we allowed that was, take Holiday Park for example. Holiday Park is used as a safer cut through for some of the higher speed roadways on US 1, and we wanted to allow for that type of cut through or safe refuge. Riverwalk is also expanded on, but it's governed under a 10 mile an hour speed limit. In this instance, originally we were going towards a prohibition, but after hearing the community, we had a public input meeting in June. We opted for including Riverwalk within that 10 mile an hour restriction.
How is that enforced?
So, what we're trying to craft right now, we're still working with PD for enforcement, but what will eventually happen is some sort of e-bike registration, and then in conjunction with PD or code compliance, we're still working out the details, some sort of violation or fine structure in that sense. So for the rider requirements, we are prohibiting people under the age of 16 from riding. So really that was the main age group that we looked and we observed that was really causing the issues, and we wanted to address that. Also, we looked at other representative municipalities, and they've also instituted some sort of age requirement. We also have a requirement to keep both hands on the device at all times. We've seen repeated uses of people using cell phones while riding, so we wanted to have that included there as well. How enforcement will work, really, we're workshopping several different options at this point, and we're still nailing down the specifics, but what we want to do is discourage minors. So registration would be required of a parental guardian of the minor. A decal would be eventually fixed to a device. However, the mechanics of that we're still working out. We're also looking at governing we don't want a potential situation where we're arresting anybody. I don't think anyone wants to go through that. But what we are looking at is a non-criminal fine structure at this time.
So you said 16
and under will be prohibited.
Anywhere?
Anywhere.
16 and under.
Yeah, for specifically for e-bikes. Yeah. So conventional bicycles are excluded from that conversation.
And like e-scooters, all of those things that were in that.
Correct. So the timeline we're looking at right now is we have the public input and redraft. We're at that point. What we're looking towards is a eventual first reading on September 15th, a second reading and a passage later in the fall, and then a 60-day educational period where no fines will be occurring, but warnings. So our first option is to educate the public, and then we move into more of the concrete fine structure at this time. So the ask really is no vote is requested today. Depending on what the final draft of the ordinance will be, what will eventually happen is we want to make sure that any park rules fall in line with the eventual passed ordinance. I took a general look at what's currently on the books now, and it seems general enough where this ordinance could fit in. So, but just keeping you guys abreast of the situation, and if there is a change that would need parks rules to be amended, we'd also let you know as well. Yes.
Have you benchmarked your rules against other communities, and have you
So
seen what the challenges and successes have been?
Yeah, so we've been in conversation with a number of different municipalities, city attorneys, other municipalities. One we looked at was the town of Wellington, which recently passed theirs, which had an age restriction. The other one was the city of Sunny Isles Beach as well.
Okay. So I have a question. Those are two older communities. This is a really good presentation. It's easy to understand. How do you address the rental of these scooters, like online? I wouldn't register online. I just pay for it and use it as a 16-year-old.
Yeah, so I can kick in there. So my name is Milos Mastorovich. I'm director for the department. So any businesses who would be renting those micromobility devices actually are not allowed to do so in our city. So a couple of years ago, there was a discussion around that. And ultimately, there was a potential on the city side to conduct some level of pilot program using those devices, but the city did not decide to do so. One of the cities a number of years ago that did it was City of Miami, for example. They had up to 9 operators, and there were a lot of lessons learned through that. And I think that the interest for those devices really died down. So short answer is they're not allowed.
Okay. And then what does that, can you talk to us more about the intervention and education portion of it if you already have that developed?
So we're still working with a number of different avenues just because we haven't really locked down the enforcement piece of it. But generally what we'd be looking at is some sort of educational or handouts or going to the Broward School Board, for instance, and really informing them of the new rules. We didn't want to go into it thinking we're going to ban everything, but we did want to go into, okay, what are the target areas? What is the speed mismatch? And how can we allow the use of these devices because they are an emerging technology and form of transportation, but how do we do it in a way that will avoid the likelihood or the risk of a major incident, especially with some of our younger riders, in addition to eventually bringing them to safe practice of these devices as well.
So I don't like to get run over by them. However, I think I also see a lot of middle schoolers in my neighborhood using it, going to school. So I can imagine that they're going to go down Riverland and then go to Riverland Park and not be able to use it on the sidewalk in the park. And I think that's troublesome. So I don't know if it's an option to have a pilot program which allows 14 and older to use it and see with educating and telling them 10 miles per hour or whatever, that helps because it is a good, for better or worse, it is something that parents are also using to help bridge the gap of transportation. And we want kids in parks playing. That's my 2 cents.
So I just want to clarify, so this is for in the parks or just in general?
In the parks, but also in general. So
Okay,
yeah.
because my son's in middle school as well, and he just rode his e-bike and his friends or the neighborhood kids just went to Southside for an art class 5 blocks from our house on scooters and e-bikes. And I could come to this meeting because I didn't have to drive them. So I don't know that 16 they can drive at 16. The scooter's great for the middle schoolers. I don't understand what the to make a different age requirement. And then the incidents you were talking about preventing, are they like safety accidents or what are the incidents?
So I think I have it here. So some of the stats we're looking at Memorial Healthcare, and we've seen a massive jump in injuries over the last couple of years, and a lot of them really were 44% were under the age of 18. What we wanted to do is strike a delicate balance between being able to allow people to ride, to commute, but also the way that these devices are currently set up, there's no governance or no speed governance of these devices currently available. So that's where we're at currently.
And just to add, so this is a proposal, right, that we're presenting, that we are planning to present before City Commission, right? The way that we see it aside of the age limit, it's really a soft approach to solving this problem, right? Because there are much harsher approaches as well, which is City of Sunny House is basically banning them altogether. It's much different city, it's much different context, it's much easier to enforce and manage operation of these devices over there because they're really very linear. There is only A1A and a couple of side streets that go north and south, so it's really easier to control. Now, to Adam's point, we also want to make sure that we don't punish those who are responsible users because of a few of those who are irresponsible users, right? So the bottom line is that we came to you to show you what we are planning specifically on the parks side. We appreciate your feedback as a parks board on that end. When it comes to citywide, what we can suggest or we can ask you to do is there's going to be public hearings. You can reach out to your commissioners, come for a public hearing, state your concerns. It's open to us reducing or enhancing that age limit. Some other municipalities have 15 years as an age group, right? So I think there is no right or wrong. Ultimately, we want to make sure that we just improve the safety score and prevent any major accidents from happening by those who are irresponsible. But through the public meeting, what we heard is that our main concern has to do with young kids who are using these devices, some of them responsibly, some of them very irresponsibly. We have witnessed them for their behavior in this city, outside of this city, on a major roadways, a number of different municipalities throughout the Broward and Miami-Dade County as well.
Thank you. Any other questions for our presenter? All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, please come up, holiday parking. That entourage.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Satchel, Capital Projects Department Director, and I brought with me Caroline Yeagle, who is the project manager who's working diligently on this project on a daily basis. So, some of you may be aware this is a project that is a public-private partnership where the Hollywood Parking Partners are engaging the city to build a parking garage in Holiday Park and to also assist with the construction of a service lot that was already under design. On July 2nd, there was an interim agreement with this group that was taken to the City Commission and was approved. And that allows the contractor, the partner or the developer, however we want to call him, to go ahead and continue certain activities on the project. These include on the
Or interim agreement.
yeah, so on the scope of work, this is the scope of work that is included in the surface lot, right? So in the agreement, sorry. This is the scope of work that's included. It's a surface lot, as I mentioned. the parking garage, and there's a fire station that's going to be part of the parking garage. It'll be, and then of course there's a possibility of a third court which would be located at the rooftop. And you'll see how much money is anticipated to be spent on each phase of the work.
Sure. Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Caroline Nico, project manager, liaison for this venture of the private partnership and the city of Fort Lauderdale. Currently under the phase one of the surface lot, just to emphasize what Colette has said, there is an intent to start with the parking lot first and then progress as we go through the phase two of the project. So currently we're at 60% design plans. What does that mean? It means we have a concept, means we are starting some of our permitting process, and that we are currently anticipating to complete the design based on feedback and also pricing and budget as things goes. And hopefully once we get permit approval by the fall of this year, then we can most likely proceed with the construction. As far as phase two, we have had the parking study completed. And what does that mean? And Milos just stepped out, but he can correct me if I'm wrong when he returns. But it has assessed, based on the entire infrastructure of the park, the number of parking spaces that it's needed to accommodate if the park is having a full-blown sports event, if the Panthers are having an event, if the War Memorial, as well as the Parker Playhouse. So in the event that all these facilities are having an event at the same time or during the same period of time, there's a specific number of parking spaces that has been determined to be the need to accommodate the park. As far as the vertiport, of course, there's several things that needs to be cleared in addition to city ordinances as well as the FAA. So that is still a work in progress pending FAA guidelines. The fire station will serve as an EMS facility to cater to these specific events. So in the event something were to happen or there's an emergency, there is now a facility available with the opportunity to transport to a hospital, but immediately assessment in the park, which is amazing with all the youth that is currently having sports and summer camp and everything else that goes on in there. And as far as our estimated completion, we're supposed to begin design the moment the interim agreement becomes executed during commission. This is the surface lot phase one. This is a sketch of more or less what the parking lot will look like. If you're familiar, this will be, if you're facing the Panthers facility, it's going to be on the G. Harold Martin Drive. So this is where the Panthers facility is. This is where the Parks facility is, where we hold most of our summer camps and all the other programs for the year. And this parking lot, which is currently a mud zone if it's raining, if you guys are used to parking in there, it is used as a parking lot, but this will improve the condition of that parking. We're designing drainage improvements. We want to make sure that the landscape improvements is complementary of the park, and as well as at routes buffer. This is also protected because we know that on this side of the parking lot there are residential properties. So that's also being implemented within our design. We have lighting improvements because currently there is no lighting in the parking lot area. We can't even call that a parking lot. I'm sorry. The area where we're using the park in the meantime. And then we're also doing right-of-way improvements. So there will be crosswalks. There will be a clear path from the lot to these other facilities. For the parking garage phase two, we have a rendering that shows where the EMS station, there will be 2 bays and also triage area to assess the needs to determine if that person needs to be relocated to a hospital, if it can be treated within the fire station facility. The garage is originally intended to have anywhere between 4 to 5 stories, possibly 6. Again, we're still going through the permitting phase. The DRC will be doing a development review committee will be a determining point during then, because it really depends on the review committee of what level of review that we will be receiving in order to exceed the height. Also the vertiport. And one of the intents, even though the rendering is not shown, it is absolutely the intent to create lush landscaping. This has been relayed to the designer several times to ensure that the garage complements the park feel. We don't want it to just have one big giant piece of concrete in the middle of our park. This more or less shows the entrance of what would be the vertiport. If not, this will be the landscape area with no vertiport. And then this shows the bays with all the sleeping areas. They will have designated parking for the fire team, which will not be impacting the usage of the parking garage for the public. And as far as our next steps, currently we're in phase one, design and permitting for the surface lot, and the pre-development, which is the assessment of the land, the geotechnical, soil testing, and all this, the due diligence period that requires in order for the designer to have all the information they need to get the design going. Once that comprehensive agreement is negotiated, we can move on to the phase two permitting, completion of design, and then phase two construction, which will incorporate the parking garage. And if you guys have any questions, we're here to answer.
Is there going to be a cost to the people for parking in the garage?
I will have to defer to Ms. Scott, but I believe that part of the P3 is that there is a cost associated, but it's
As far as the parking, your question is about the public.
the public.
Is that
Oh,
what you're
yes,
asking?
correct.
Yeah. I think
So,
we're using
so do you mean will the parking be metered, or is the
city?
are the residents paying for like a special assessment for the garage? What is your question?
No, I'm talking about metered parking. Is it going to be metered
So
parking?
I think that is still under negotiations.
Okay.
There was an option for metered parking. There was a conversation because it's within the park, and so I don't think that has been finalized yet. If it will
And
be
the
metered or
surface
not.
lot, which is phase one, is not metered.
That I know. Yeah.
Yes.
So, how many spots are in the surface lot?
The surface lot
It's
is
270 to 290.
yes.
290.
It will depend on the completion of the design. If we can maximize the space without impacting additional space
So
within the park.
if we have a full capacity event, will those parking spots be enough for our, like, if you're looking at some of the events like Panthers
The 290.
plus the 1,000?
Well, it really comes down to what appetite we have, right? Because there's a point where the building's going to become too tall and kind of intrusive within the park. So this is kind of a good balance. One of the things that we look at is what the city has committed to providing to each of these entities as a part of their operations, and trying to make sure that we meet that and still have a few extra spaces. So the 290 plus the 1,000 would meet the city's obligations to all of these entities. And that's why we're at that number.
That was a question I had in terms of how many dedicated spots are for the Y staff, for our health, for fire rescue.
Right, exactly. That's another one.
I don't have those specific numbers.
We might be able to share the
Yeah, we
traffic
can share
study.
it.
Yeah, we can share the traffic study with the board. And one of the things that if there is one event at a time, as far as phase one, the current parking that's there does accommodate enough traffic for enough parking for the Panthers, and then Parker Playhouse does have enough parking for their facility. Most people still use the lots. They still use the park side, so we do have, there's ample parking on the other side, but the sports area, which folks are usually not playing sports, at 9 o'clock at night. Some folks are playing tennis. I've seen it. But yes, there is, the phase one should be able to accommodate one event at a time. And the garage is to accommodate further use of it, yes.
And the design also tries to encourage car share ride usage, right? So we do have a drop-off area that is intended for Uber or Lyft,
Yes.
whichever one you use to drop off and keep on going. Because whenever there's a huge event or several events, we would definitely want to make sure that they go ahead and encourage people to
That's
arrive.
actually a good point. I'm going to piggyback off of that. We are also including a bus park area. So when the kids come during the day, they have a specific area to park the bus. Because usually the buses, when they park in a specific parking area, they're taking several parking stalls. So the garage will actually accommodate also parking for those buses.
Yeah, if you can provide
The
the estimate
specifics of
account
each.
for how many staff, because we are adding 3 new businesses there, so they need parking for their staff. It's minus 1,200.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to mention this. So, our team and our park there, along with the entities of Panthers, Parker, and our group, and then eventually the Y, which are currently having monthly meetings. on
Yes.
parking arrangements and activities and activation. So there is some connectivity and alignment as far as the calendar of the park itself and what is taking place in the park, so that we can kind of plan things around so there's awareness, and then also if there is going to be an activation where all the entities have something, we'll have our park rangers and police to assist with some traffic control efforts.
I don't think the intent is to eliminate the coordination between events and the parking, even after there's additional parking. I think the coordination always happens for multiple reasons: for the park rangers, for the police, it's like accessibility, including the fire. You know, if there's going to be several events, the fire station will need to be, fully staffed at that point. So I'm sure there will still the event coordination will continue later on.
Surface lot improvements are definitely welcome,
Yes.
especially with the walkway. And
Yes,
And the lighting.
and
Yes.
the lighting, so, right? No, the non-flooding.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes,
All right, we now have an update from Paulette of the Parks Bond project.
All right. So, where did Caroline go? It's a.
Yes.
So the last time we were here, we had, I think back in May, we had some very specific questions about an explanation of the process that each project goes through, and some additional information. So part of what we're doing today is trying to address some of those questions that we were asked. And we're also engaging we came in with an entourage. We did not mean to seem that way. We apologize. But the intent is to really engage all of our project managers that are involved in the Parks Bond. When I came, I told you guys it's not one person, it's my staff. Everybody's working on Parks Bond. And so I think it's a good way for you to see some of the faces that are actually participating and engage you a little bit better on the projects that we're working on. So you'll have Caroline will come back shortly, and this is Mitzi Sanchez. They'll definitely go ahead and present for you today on some of the projects they're working on. And I'll let Kristen introduce herself, but Kristen, go ahead.
I'm Kristen Thompson, Division Manager for Capital Projects. So again, as Colette mentioned, we're here to give you a snapshot of the Parks Bond, and we're going to provide over the course of the next few months a bite of each one of our project managers' portfolio of the Parks Bond projects. Today we are going to discuss 12 projects, and then again over the next months, whether we're coming monthly or quarterly, we'll be providing and featuring some of our PMs to share their projects with you. So over the 4 districts right now, the 12 projects that we are discussing today, the average budget is $36.8 million. We have projects, and again, our lovely ladies are going to go through each project, but I just want to share here, we have the current phase, the district, and then the budget for each project. So some are in construction. Some, if they have multiple phases, they're in construction and design, as you see here with Holiday Park. Crescent Park, we have design and permitting, and then of course planning for other projects. So how we decide, how we weigh the factors that allow us to say, hey, we need to move forward with this project. I just want to give you guys a little crash course on how we think and approach our projects. So it's based on, of course, construction readiness, and that's the design is ready, the permitting is set, and we're ready to go out to bid. Do we have adequate project funding? So we all know that the master plan for the Parks Bond was blessed 10 years ago. So we are faced with cost escalation, things that come up. So if the project is completely funded, we like to prioritize those. Strike while the iron is hot before the costs go up even higher. Grant alignment is a key factor because we have a lot of opportunities that come with grants, but deadlines come with those opportunities, right? So we have to make sure that we're prioritizing those projects if they have grants connected to them. Commission priority, we already know. If there's a push, sometimes we want to try to make sure that if it is ready and there is a need and it aligns, that we make that happen as well. life cycle readiness. So as you know, with parks, we have life cycles on these playgrounds and infrastructure. So we try to prioritize that as well. And then interaction with other improvements. So that's coordination with utilities, with other projects, other capital projects within the city that are moving forward. We want to try to coordinate with our partners and client departments to ensure that we're not coming ahead of them for them to then provide rework on our projects, and that we're not conflicting with their schedules as well. So choosing the right method. All right. So there are a lot of different types of methods for us to procure our projects. So we only named a few here, but I want to let you know how we determine which method we're going to choose. So the budget certainty and need, that is, it's like baby zero, right? If we don't have the money, we know we can't move forward. The schedule compression and how we can fast track. So that'll tell us, you know what, if this is really tight, we can't afford to go out to bid for 6 months for a design and then go out to bid 6 months for the construction. Let's try if we can to get a CMAR on board. They'll assist and kind of expedite things. And then in some instances, as we know, P3s have become a thing. High complexity or design innovation. If we're looking for something cutting edge, it's a little more appropriate for a design build. If the design is complete and it's straightforward scope, something that we don't have to dance around and get a consultant on board, we've already done the design, then we can just go out for an ITB. It's a faster solicitation. And then professional or vendor services. So that's usually if we're doing an RFP saying, hey, we're starting from zero. We don't have a design. We need to bring a consultant on board, and that's more focused on professional services. So the project life cycle, this is a general project life cycle that we live by here within the city. Of course, there's a variation, and we try to be very agile and move how we need to move. But this is just to give you a general oversight of how we develop our projects and how the course of the projects go across the city within capital projects. And down below, you'll see some timelines, general timelines. This is perfect world scenario with a little bit of space for contingency. So we start with the initiation and programming. So that means we need to identify the scope. Because of the Parks One Master Plan, a lot of the scope has been identified already. So this is us revisiting the scope, checking its feasibility, making sure that we are still in line and ready to go. Then we have the delivery method. That's what I was talking about before, right? How are we going to address this scope now that we've secured budget? And that means, okay, the PM, right, and the director evaluate the complexity. This is going to be a tough one. Okay, we may need to go design build. We may need a design criteria package ahead of time to set the groundwork before we get into design to make sure things are a little tighter. So that is selected at that moment. And then we go through procurement. And procurement, so we have RFQ and RFP solicitation here, right? A committee may be formed, sit, consultants present, we rank. But sometimes we already have done this and we have what's called a CCNA contract. So we will either pull from our CCNA, our pool of consultants, to provide a solicitation, a proposal for us because they've already gone through solicitation. Or if we don't have a CCNA in place that is equipped to provide that design right away, then we'll go through the standard RFP process. Design and permitting, after we have awarded and approved and issued a purchase order for that consultant, they get busy. They start doing their design and permitting. That gets us through general milestones, the standard 30, 60, 90%. Get through permitting, answer all those questions, and then we get that 100% construction set of plans. And then we go through procurement again. And so at that point, that's the solicitation, whichever one we decide, right? That's the ITB. That's RFP if we're doing design build. Whichever, or we have a qualified vendor list, right? Say it already has gone through solicitation and we are submitting like a quick bid for our vendors that we already have on call. And once we go through that, and then we award them, then we get a purchase order. Then we get to construction. Now that's where the party starts. That's where everyone says it's been taking 10 years. Well, this process is a process, right? So we issue the NTP. We start the conversations. We get the schedules. We secure all of the permits, right-of-way permits, public information, open houses. We start that process to get the boots on the ground to start construction. And then after that, we get through our punch list. So now this is our certificate of occupancy. Punch list is already approved. We're ready to schedule the ribbon cutting, and then we're closing out the project. So without further ado, we just wanted to give you a snapshot of the process and what we have to go through. It's not quick, and it's not pretty either, even though I tried to make it sound really pretty. But it's a process, and it takes a lot of time, and our team puts in a lot of effort to make sure that these projects come to fruition. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Missy. Oh yes. Any questions on the process?
Very clear.
Okay. All right. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Missy.
I have a question. Yeah. So can I go back to that slide?
Sure.
Just first of all, thank you, Carl. I think I had asked for this, and I'm so glad it gives me a little bit more clarity. You mentioned that procurement for AE and procurement for contractor, those are two different things. Are there not any possibilities where you could be a parallel process there? Because I see that's where the time.
In the design build contracting side, they would occur simultaneously.
So it's very case by case, I would say. So we try to do our best to create solicitations where we had that on call, right? So AECOM back in the day was selected to be that consultant that would provide the design, so we don't have to go out to solicitation every time that we want to produce a design for the parks bond. But they were, I would say, the program itself is much larger than one firm, and so we had to go out for solicitation again, secure additional consultants, so then we can have a larger pool to address the parks bond projects. If it's under $7.5 million, we can use one of our contracts that are on call, and we can pick a consultant that meets the scope, and that helps cut down this 3 to 6 month procurement for engineering services. If it is over $7.5 million, if our existing consultants cannot do the work, then we go out for that solicitation again. So where we are with the parks bond, we're in a good place to where we can. It's still been taking us 3 to 6 months for some delivery of our proposals for design, but we've been cutting out a lot of the solicitation timeline by using who we have on call already.
So my concern was basically in 2019, about $200 million were approved, and now we are sitting right now. We haven't done much work.
We've done some work. We've done some work.
Sorry. But the question is that, that 200 million now, at today's dollars, doesn't buy you.
It is not 200, yes.
It would have bought you at that time.
I agree.
Now there is a what we call a reckoning. We need to figure that out. How much is it? How much is the impact? Has anybody done that kind of study?
So you're in the process of doing that analysis project by project. We have identified that there is some needs on some of the projects, and I believe in May we went to the commission and we asked for a budget amendment to get some additional funds in for some of those projects. And I think we came here and asked for your vote to do that. We are continuing that process. The next time we come back to you, we will have another batch of
What's
projects.
taking so long for that process?
Well, we have over 100 projects within the parks fund. Yes. And so so let's go back really quickly. So Capital Projects Department has become one department effective October 1st of 2025. So we collectively have not been able in the past to audit and really uncover the need of all the projects that haven't been activated yet. So we're still moving through. We're still trying to activate and uncover every stone for each project, so we know what shortages are there.
Well, you could use a lot of tools today, right? With something like ChatGPT, you could download all those documents that you have, all the treasure trove of all the things that you have, you can get those answers within a few days.
You know, I love your enthusiasm. That is, I love that. So
I'm not being enthusiastic, I'm being realistic.
no, I hear you, but there are a lot of moving parts, and when we then identify funding, then we have to find where to get the funding, right? We have to then package this in a way so where we can come back to you guys and ask permission. When we're looking at that $200 million bond, when we see X project has a shortage, we have to then decide from a project that is completed, hey, we have to ask permission.
I didn't ask that. I asked for why is it taking so long to get that analysis done. I'm not asking. But I get
I see
the
what
funding.
you mean.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
I wanted to zero in on that. Why is it taking so long? Because time is running out. Because we have like 2019. Today's 2026. 7 years,
Yeah.
and we're still doing analysis.
So
Be a finished project.
I would say the
No,
analysis.
I'm talking about the
didn't begin-
analysis that you mentioned, Colin,
Yes.
right?
So it is a process because there's multiple elements to this. We have consultants who are different phases of work. We do not want to come back to you every time that we, at 30%, 60%, 90% when a need is identified. One of the things that we're doing is if we're at 30% design and there's an identified overage, what can we do responsibly to reduce costs? Can we select a different material? Can we switch things around a little bit? Can we select a different manufacturer? So we are not coming to you every time that a need is identified. We try to work through it, use different strategies, including value engineering, to see how we can get projects, going or ready without having to come for money. We do not want to come every time that this need is identified. So one of the things that we're doing is, if a project's ready to go out for construction and there's no way for us to overcome that need, then we'll come to you and say, hey, this is where we are, this is what has occurred, we are ready to go. Do you want us to proceed? Do you think we should go ahead and get the extra however many dollars of it? So it's not just even saying there's a shortage, because I could come in and say, hey, there's a shortage on every project, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to be fiscally responsible and see, do we really need to ask for more money? One of the things that we're also doing is looking at how we can execute the program. So some of these projects are in tranche 3. The last time we came in, there were projects that are in tranche 3. That money has not been issued yet. But we've identified that there is a need, right, to get that project going. So we come and we say, hey, this project is out there. It's going to need more than 2 or 3 years to develop this project. Can we get some extra money to start design now? So we are analyzing every single project, not just saying, hey, because I could come in very simplistically and say, listen, 5% escalation over 5 years, I need 25% more money. But that's not fiscally responsible. I think it's better for us to say, this is where the project is. We've done everything that we can within those projects. And to ask for the money when we are not ready to start construction or not ready to start design ties up money that could be used for something else. I'm sorry.
So I'm saying that this is getting into analysis paralysis kind of thing, right? Where you're trying to analyze something which was approved 7 years ago, $200 million were approved. We haven't spent that money. Why? Because we were still kind of figuring out where to spend it. And now we're at a point where we have started all these projects and we are trying to analyze whether we'll need extra money. We know that we'll need extra dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't you be focused on saying, I don't want to be perfect in my analysis. At least, let me get 80% of the analysis and present it before a year passes by and we have additional costs going up. That's my point.
If you take a look at the budget that is going to be presented and voted on in September, we have been working with OMB, our budget department, to see how we can make sure that we have money available to us when we need it. So in that budget, there is a $5 million fund, which is intended to supplement projects that have a budget shortfall. We have also worked with OMB, so part of it is identifying where the money is coming from, right? Because the money isn't just sitting there. So, we've been working with other departments to identify funds. So there's $5 million coming to supplement this. Then there's also the fact that we're working with Carl and with the finance department to look at park interest fees, park impact fees, park fund impact fees. So we've identified multiple sources of the funding that can be available to us through process, right, to get these projects moving when they're ready. So for example, you're going to see us come back, as I said before, where we're going to be talking about projects that are either ready to go up for construction that we need more money for.
So when is that going to happen? When are you coming back to us?
We will. We are scheduled to come back to, if not by the September meeting, definitely by the October. We at the beginning, the second week of August is when we got all the financials from that we pulled data to see exactly how much money is spent, how much money is available, and that's going to be a part of the report that we bring back to you the next time. I don't want to come before we're ready, but I think I do want to come on the 23rd.
I would rather
there
you
are
come
projects that we
early.
need to move.
My humble opinion, I would rather you come early
Yes.
with at least 80% of the analysis done so we can kind of get this thing going forward rather than waiting another 6 months and we go get additional cost overruns.
It won't be 6 months, but I want to set realistic expectations. This is not going to be a request for every single project because we have multiple projects, and you'll see the part of our presentation here. You have several projects that are in the very early initiation phase. I think there are 44 projects that are in very early stages. You heard Kristen talk about initiation and programming. We don't know if we're short funded then yet. We have to engage consultants, go through a design process, advance it to at least the 90% design before we come and say, you know what, guys, we need more money, right? Because otherwise we're just asking for money because we can. And I don't think that's appropriate. And I don't want our consultants to think that that's the way it goes. We have to make them responsible somewhat as much as possible for the money that we have. So when we come back to you, I know we've identified 4 or 5 projects already that's on our list that we will come back to you from. And we're even identifying sources within the bond already where we can get those funds without touching that $5 million. I'm looking at this for the long haul. We've got to fund all of these projects as they're coming online and as they're ready to start construction.
And to your point, you mentioned that this was 7 years ago that the bond was issued, and now there's been a cost escalation. If they did that full analysis now and they're not ready to move on all of those projects, it puts them right back at square one, where now they have a cost escalation above that analysis again.
Yeah.
So they're not trying to put the cart before the horse in that regard, and they're trying, as she said, make the best use of the money that is available.
So when the projects are ready, or if we're ready to move design, or if we're ready to move construction, that's when I come to you and say, guys, we've assessed this project. This project is ready to go. We need and some of them, I'll tell you, real numbers. We looked at it today. $629,000 is what Bass Park needs. It's under construction. We're coming back to you next month for that, right? We're looking at others that need funding. I think, I should have taken a picture. So there's others that are either on the brink of starting construction or under construction that we've already identified that we need money. And so those are the ones, that are hot. And like we did, there's one that is out there, Virginia Schumann Young School, which it's in tranche 3. But the school projects are taking us way longer to permit through the school board. So we're looking at, hey, that's going to be one of the ones that are going to come. It's not a big ask. I think the ask is about $100,000. But this is seed money to get our consultants going into design and permitting so that when by the time the tranche gets funded, we already have permits in hand. So these are strategies that we're looking at, and we're looking at every project, from even those that are further down the road in another tranche to say, hey, does this one need to be brought forward? And I understand what you're saying, but I would like for us to be responsible with the money and make sure that we only pull down the money when it is necessary, because otherwise we're tying up money that could help other projects within the city.
And if we try to connect all of the dots for the entire parks fund at this juncture, then we get to the place of still, when you're jack of all trades and master of none, we need to be able to finish the projects. There are so many projects that have started and then been put on the shelf.
Yeah.
We want to complete the project. So the analysis we're doing too is also strategizing how these projects that are in 60, 90% design, active construction, we don't want them to stop during construction, stop during 90% design. We want to fund those, button those up, and then be able to strategically start and finish projects while they're funded, and complete.
But I encourage you all to reach out to your commissioners and tell them, hey, there's $5 million on there for Parks Fund. Please make sure it stays in the budget, because this is us trying to be proactive and make sure that we have a fund. We'll have, every time we ask for money, we're going to come to you and present it. So you will see the development and the progress as we go through it. But part of it is identifying where we get the money from. And we have several sources that we've identified, and we've developed strategies of how we're going to work through them. But we're getting there.
if I could add another data point, this is something that the entire industry is facing off with. The cost of raw materials has not just exponentially grown, it's changing from week to week. So how do you capture that within the confines of the typical project lifecycle? Just as a aside, FDOT, they just broke ground on Southwest 10. They have a $200 million shortfall. So this is something that every entity, every agency is dealing with.
So all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out if we can
How to move
move
it.
it faster, right?
Yes.
So we can get ahead of the curve rather than being behind the curve.
So you'll be impressed with what we have done in this last year, I must say.
And I'll tell you, as I mentioned when I came here last time, the whole point of adding more bodies to the program is making sure that we're giving more attention to every single individual project within the program. Where it is, where it needs to be, and make sure that we're moving in strides to get there. All right, sorry, that was long-winded, but I wanted to make sure we're good question. Good question.
All right, let's see, you're on. Yes, good evening, Parks Recreation and Beach Board members. My name is Mixie Sanchez. I am the Project Manager 1 with the Capital Projects Department. I am happy to be here to share with you some of our progress today on some of the playgrounds in Parks overall. So I'll start off with Palmdale Village Park. We're currently in construction phase. The playground, the lighting, and the signage have been completed. The playground is currently open for use. And we're just waiting to receive a quote now to process a purchase order and schedule the ADA improvements, which I started working on today. A task order to get that purchase order going so we can improve the walkway within the park. And that improvement should be completed before the end of this year.
And there will be a ribbon cutting in September.
Yes.
Towards the end of September for this.
Yes, we're working on coordinating that as well. Next up, Peter Philman Park, also in construction phase. However, the playground is completed. As you can see, it's beautiful photos. This is probably one of my favorite ones with the beach theme. The playground replacement, you can see here, fully completed. We're just waiting again to receive a quote to get that purchase order and schedule the installation for the lighting upgrades within the park.
When did this one get completed, Mitzi?
Peter Philman, August.
Yeah, early this has been a busy, productive
So
summer.
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, so we actually had, because we understand how important it is for our neighbors, kids, all of our kids, right, to have a nice playground to go to after school. We actually had one neighbor that approached me on site and says, I've been living here for 5 years and I've been bringing my son here since he was a year old. He says, I am so happy to see the colors, the improvement. He's like, when is it going to be open? So it's nice to see that, right? When our neighbors approach us and we can give these type of updates. Yes.
My son there, he's 12 now, but it was always a great park. I love the improvements, and I also wanted to see the mural there. I've seen it.
This too will have a groundbreaking at the end of September.
So great, and I love it.
Thank you. So for Peter Philman, we're also working on coordinating ribbon cutting sometime in September. Okay. Next up, Esther Davis Wright Park. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. A huge improvement, playground replacement, outdoor exercise equipment, walking trail, ADA improvement, all of that's completed. We're currently working on furnishing the playground, or the park rather. And so the parks team, huge thank you to the Parks and Rec team. They're working on installing some of those furnishings this week.
Benches, trash cans.
Yes. This one's Esther Davis, right?
I mean, is it the neighborhood? Is that Riverside?
Yes, Riverfront.
Oh, Grove.
Mm-hmm.
Great park.
And yes,
There's a lot of river communities, so it gets confusing. Marinas.
and we're also coordinating a ribbon cutting for this one in September. So this is huge for us, right? He's smiling. Next up, we should have started with these. Right? Next up, Harbordale Park. So the playground, fitness equipment, signage, and AD improvements. This is a part of the scope. Now the fitness equipment, the playground, are completed. The ADA improvements, we needed to confirm that the ADA parking meets the requirements, and it does. The signage was ordered, so we'll have that monument that's there, cleaned, repainted. We'll have new signs placed in the park, and so again, this is one that Parks and Rec is currently working and doing their magic, right, to complete the enhancement there, and we should be reopening this one. I would say mid-September, but the ribbon cutting for this one would probably be in October. Holiday Park. So we are currently, as you can see, the phase one was field lighting improvements and tennis center renovations, which is completed. We're currently in phase two construction at this moment. The notice to proceed to the contractor was issued back in May. We've had good progress to date, including the demolition of the existing playground. We've had some underground electrical conduits installed. This is a big one also for the city. This is one that we've been waiting for quite a long time, so it's happening.
There is a third and fourth phase which will include splash pad improvements, pickleball courts, the longer pickleball courts, and new restroom building design. So that is in the design phase. I think it's about 60% in the design phase right now. Much of the work on pickleball courts will be contingent upon completion of the YMCA building and being able to demolish the social center building, because that's where the pickleball courts are going to go. But we phased the work so that we could advance those portions that we could, get done. I think Christian made a really good point about, coordinating with existing projects and improvements on the site. This is one of those projects.
It's great to see playground in construction.
Yes. So when is the playground supposed to be?
For this one? Yeah. Well, we're active in construction now. The overall work is to be completed sometime next year in September.
Okay. 9/20. Okay.
Next, Crescent Park, which we're currently in design permitting. For this one here, we have the surface water license approval for Broward County Environmental. We are currently just waiting on the Broward County School Board to provide us documentation on the joint use agreement, right? That effort will determine if the permit will go through the city or the school board. So, which, if it goes through us, it goes a lot quicker. And we're kind of ready because those bid documents are ready. So we're just waiting on that now to finalize, get the permits, and get that out to solicitation.
So just a quick question. I've seen that each one of them doesn't have the actual end date. Since the planning is done on those, don't you have actual end dates for any of them?
Well, because of the phase we're in, right? Design and permitting. This is why. So let me explain this quickly. So this is the original end date that we're anticipating. Should there be a change, in the date for further date, then we'll change that to an actual end date.
So
But
you're saying
now,
the original end date was correct?
yes.
No. So
Yes.
there was no revision. Okay, got it. Okay.
Because this is the first time
This is
we're
the first
presenting,
time we're
so we're giving you accurate
schedules.
dates.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're getting the actual dates because we don't have the data for what was originally planned. To your point, 7 years
So
ago.
moving forward, when we do this again, then
We will
see.
update.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, for example, this one, Crescent Park, procurement is starting 2nd September and ending 12/1. So you will update that if it goes over.
Correct. Great, yes. And next, Benson Park. This one we're just in planning phase now, and we're just waiting to select a consultant and begin the design phase. So this one, it's one of those where we're still working to decide who we're going to use for the design. Okay, so I hope that you enjoy the fact that we have
a handful of playgrounds that are open, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So next up we have our wonderful Caroline Eagle.
Can I ask one more? Maybe you'll be covering that later. Victoria Park, there was a playground planned for that. What's happening to that?
So Victoria Park, we have a design, and we're on our second round of estimates from contractors. We are looking, because it's such a simplistic scope of work, we looked at different contracting methods that we could use rather than going through the full ITV and so forth. So we have different contracts that we could use. One of them we could piggyback on other contracts that other cities have, and we've tried those. But there's very specific requirements for each of those. So the first one failed. The second one, we have identified a contractor. We have his quote, and we have a meeting with the procurement department tomorrow
to review it.
to review that quote, make sure it's compliant. We are so ready to go on that one, because that one's a fun part, and we really want to see that one get going. So hopefully, when we meet with procurement tomorrow, we've met all of the legal requirements and we can proceed.
So the playground is coming where the gazebo is, or besides that?
Mark is here.
No, so Mark is a senior project manager for capital projects. So the playground is actually going to be located just to the north of where that existing gazebo is, right on the trees.
Just north of there.
Yes,
Where the trees are. You're not going to take off any
No,
trees?
we're not touching the trees at all. That was intentional with the design. We wanted to make sure to take advantage of that natural canopy and not touch it at all.
Thank you.
Hello again. Sorry, went the wrong way. So, for Lauderdale Beach Park, this is a highly coveted project. We're currently in the design phase. We recently requested a proposal for a task order with one of the new consultants that we recently onboarded with the city to supplement the design needs in addition to ACOM. So we're going with Guri Matud. They have provided us with a proposal we are currently reviewing in order to move forward. The scope of work is originally was the fitness equipment, a playground replacement, lighting upgrades, signage, and ADA improvements. But since the park's bond scope definition for this project, there has been an approach for an interlocal agreement by a private company to also resurface the basketball courts, install a new commercial grade backboards on the famous basketball hoops. We are trying let me rephrase that. We are not touching the design. We're merely replacing the backboard because it's very deteriorated, but we're going to try to meet the same aesthetics of it because it is a statement of that portion of the basketball courts. And also install 2 new synthetic flex screen passive areas east of the pedestrian bridge, which can be used. I know we have a lot of yoga folks that utilize the beach, or just for meditation. A lot of folks go to the beach in the morning time. So the intent is just have a little bit more of a flex space, as well as the addition of pickleball courts. And so the interlocal agreement was with Bahia Mart, and it was executed on July 2nd. We have since, like I said, started working on the task order to proceed with the design. This is a very conceptual design, and it will come down to the funding, and we also have to meet expectations, right? Because what's being proposed here, in addition to the committed fund from the interlocal agreement, as of now, we far appear to exceed. So we may need to go over a couple of details. Also, you would see that the playground is missing because it's further down the south side. So these are a couple of the things that we want to make sure that we are addressing because the playground is extremely deteriorated. So it does have a need for it. And it's not showing here, so we're still working through that design phase, and we made sure to incorporate that with the language of the task order that we are communicating with the designer. This is a very important project, so I want to make sure you guys have, if you have any questions, yes ma'am. I know we wrote a letter to the commission from our board regarding, first of all, pickleball and the synthetic grass. I did not hear our letter to commission reference at all at the commission meetings.
Can I update you on that?
I don't know if they did or not, but I was just curious if they received it. I think
So we did not draft a letter. There was not, and help me refresh my memory, Amy. No, we
made a recommendation.
made a recommendation to draft a letter, and I think at the next meeting when we were supposed to draft that, there was not a quorum. Then we got
That letter. I mean, I saw the draft. It was not sent to commission.
who drafted it? Oh, so I had some comments, but I didn't draft a full letter. Or did I give you a letter, Amy? But this is what happened. So we agreed to have a letter. We had a meeting. There was not a quorum to vote on the letter, and at that meeting, it was also shared by Parks and Rec that a letter wasn't needed, that our wishes were communicated in other avenues during the what's the meeting called? The conference meeting. Someone did read in our park notes, so our record of our position that we don't want these things, exactly what we wanted. 2 courts, not 4. No synthetic lawn. That was read by a resident in its entirety in front of the commission, and they still made the decision that we made. But I was told that we can all speak up for design. It was communicated, just not in the initial way that we wanted.
My other question would be, where are we now in the planning process? Like, is it 4 pickleball courts for sure? Is that too late to change? Because, or I'm just curious where we are.
So the commission approval included 4.
From what I heard at the commission meeting, it was like, okay, we're going to move forward, but nothing is set in stone.
So there will be, as part of our task order, as far as our due diligence process will initiate, there will be a lot of environmental engineering that will be performed to even see if it's feasible, right? So for the entire design. Okay, right? Because again, as concerns have risen as far as the synthetic, in the beach pickleball courts on the beach, like we all know how like the ball sometimes it may not be feasible. So we have to do that study and that planning and that due diligence prior to even starting the design. So all of this is part of the proposal that we have received that we are currently reviewing because there are so many aspects of it.
And as we engage the consultants, one of the first things that we'll do, they'll have their concept, and we will have one developed.
Yes.
So this project will go through the normal process. We will reach out and we will come back to this board and we will take it to the community for input.
I think that's what I wanted to clarify is where we are in the process because it says here
Due
4
diligence.
pickleball courts.
Because that is what's on the agreement.
Right. So my question is, where are we in that?
Are we like at 30% design?
No,
we're not.
The task order,
Just
task
engaged
order,
with
just
us.
engagement. This
We
was
have
approved
started
July
the
2nd,
design
so we are
process.
just
Wait,
engaged.
so when you say it's approved, that's what my question is that
Interlocal agreement only.
Not the design.
Yeah, the interlocal agreement was approved July 2nd, including. So remember when I was saying if we had a CCNA, a consultant will come on, now we engage them. We don't have to go through a solicitation process, but now we're asking them to give us a proposal. If it's okay with us, then we move forward with design. So that's where we are. They gave us the proposal, we're reviewing it, and then we'll say, okay, you've met everything, and then we can initiate and start the design.
When is the public input process beginning?
When we begin having milestones, yeah.
That's what I think you want.
yes,
Yeah.
because we have had public input. Everyone has said we don't want 4
Correct,
pickleball
yeah.
courts, but yet we're still in this 4 pickleball court.
What I'm,
To be fair, we're doing
Yeah,
a presentation. This
what
was the only rendering we had.
It's not for you.
I'm not upset with
You're
you
right.
at
I
all.
agree with
I'm
that.
just
I
saying
agree with you. Yeah.
we made a unanimous decision
Correct, yeah.
as a Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. I'm wondering what's the point. And if there's still time, I mean, maybe, and we didn't submit like an official letter, maybe we can, I don't know if I can make a motion or something that we need to make our point official.
So just
Okay.
to kind of
Yeah.
clarify
Yes,
some
sir.
of this, so in those minutes where the board did make note, that was captured and that was part of the backup material for our commissioners. In addition, as to Chair Oglesby mentioned, that was also shared during conference presentation of what your recommendation to commission was. And so commission has been fully abreast of what was asked or shared by the board to commission, and commission then gave us as staff the direction to move forward into starting the design portion. Now, there will be
with no regards to what I mean, no, like what we said meant they just said, okay, we hear you, but we're going to go forward with against everything that you suggested. Is just for clarity.
so I don't want to speak for commission, but they moved in that direction.
Correct. So they said, we hear you, we disagree, and we're moving forward.
I would recommend you look at the conference meeting because that's what I interpreted. No, that's what I interpreted. There were a lot of people there saying we don't want this,
Right.
and they said
I watched it, and that's
we are moving forward.
And I was wondering, did they receive our letter because there was no mention of it from what I
To
read.
really understand, we did not provide a letter.
Right.
One of the issues was we didn't have
So
quorum
I
to
don't know if
approve
we can
it.
make another.
Question: does the interlocal agreement require specifically state forecourts?
Yes.
Would changing that then require renegotiation of that agreement?
It would be amended, but we're going to go through a normal process, right? Engage consultant, they're going to do their 30% design based on what was approved. They're going to come and they're going to get feedback from this board and from the community. You know, this is the opportunity that we get for you, that you will get to opine again.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you feel you need to vote on, then that is within your purview.
I think we should do it.
So
We should
what I would
definitely
add to that is because this has already been shared with commission at conference, if you want to send a letter to them, to your district commissioner specifically, I think you're more than welcome to do that. But the avenue that was already given, that period has already taken place. So I don't want to, bring up something to commission when they've already opined to before.
It'll be a waste of time. That's what your point is.
If I may, we did not officially do it. From what I'm understanding, we did not officially do it. Well, so perhaps since we did not officially do the letter to commission, maybe we should.
I'm going to
it
speak
wouldn't
plainly.
hurt.
I'm going to speak plainly.
And then we can
Just
all
giving
do
clear
our own
direction
commissioner
not
letter.
to do that and to do other avenues. However, I will listen to the board and we can present a letter if that is what the board wishes. There are also other avenues. We don't have to wait to meetings. You can have meetings with your commissioners. You can have meetings
I think
with
we should
people
do
who
all
are not your commissioners and continue to go to the conference meetings and commission meetings and not wait for the next presentation of wherever they are, the status update. I think, based off your will and interest, definitely speak up often and in many ways.
Okay, so I know we drafted a letter, or at least there was something. So I don't see how it could hurt to make it official in that sense, like to send that letter, and then we can all reach out in our own avenues to our commissioners and our, to everyone else on our own. I just don't see why it would hurt.
Do I have to have a whole
Send
motion
an
again?
official letter to commission
Just
that we had already agreed on and drafted.
to enter the discussion, I am not supportive of that. I think this whole issue has just become overblown, and it's a lot of people come involved in using it as a political toy, and I think we just need to, I know I speak to my commissioner about it all the time. I think that's the best way to do it.
I agree with you. It's just going to be a lot of our time spent on this.
We already
It's-
had it drafted, and we all were in agreement. I don't see why we can't just send it.
But what Joyce said was that it was already kind of communicated to the commission, and the commission just let it go, and they still went ahead with this decision. So now we have to go to the second stage, which is where we have to talk to our commissions and go through the public input again. And I'm pretty sure we'll have to go through the same process again when it comes up again for discussion there. But I think we would be spending too much time on this.
We already have it drafted, and we all were in agreement. So I don't see why we couldn't just
The
send
timing, right?
it officially.
If we were all present at that time, if they had a quorum, then we'd have been able to do that letter. But we didn't have that.
And I
That's what I'm
don't know how the rules work for the board. there's one board member that does not participate in any more than one.
No, you guys will vote on it. So
Okay.
if you
Okay, so that's unanimous here.
discuss it at
Okay.
on new business, we can pull up the draft and you guys will do a formal vote on the communications commission.
Okay. All right, so we'll let them continue with their
Sure.
presentation and then we can discuss the new business.
So this is Floyd Bowl Stadium, which is also part of the Parks Launch projects list. This project is currently under design. It is a huge effort. This is also part of a future tranche, so we are currently going through certain assessments of the condition of the existing structures in order to determine and properly assess the full scope of work. And the initial scope of work was the activity center renovation, upgrade to existing softball, baseball fields. There's a new multi-purpose field, and renovate existing playground as well as the restrooms. I don't know if you guys have been in that park anytime soon, but it does look in dire need. So the intent is to actually revamp the park. We're currently working with a consultant to do some of the required testing for permitting for the demolition of certain of these structures. And then the next steps will be to complete the site evaluation in order to properly determine what the first or how we should move forward with the design. Are we fully demolishing? Is there a need? What are the conditions of these properties, or is the renovation sufficient? You know, at that point, we will then be able to determine how the design can move forward. I mean, it's moving forward, but just more or less, what is it that we're prioritizing? Is yes, correct. And next we have Lauderdale Isles Landing Park. This one is one of those projects that Ms. Collette was speaking earlier. We are fully completed with design. We are initiating now the final stages of the building permit process. And unfortunately, we have incurred a shortfall, most likely due to the community has asked to change a little bit or a lot of the scope of the work, which has incurred a lot more costs. So right now we have a new community center and site improvements, which includes the walkways that you can see here on this rendering, landscaping, irrigation. And I always like to point out that we are preserving trees. There will be no trees removed in the building, in the construction of this property. We are at 90% design completed. What that means is that we're not fully permitted. Once we receive all permits, then we move forward with a 100% design. That is what we are constructing. We have received the ERC, the Development Review Committee approval, and now it's just the actual building permits once we have completed we have had a little bit of modification of the plans. There is another project that is coming as far as there's a trail through the Florida Department of Transportation, I think. I will get you guys the exact, but there was a little bit of a concern as far as the back area of the facility. So we're going to be enclosing the back area during non-business hours for the facility, just to provide a little bit of an extra safety component to this area. And right now, as we are reviewing the change order in order to proceed with that modification, that only applies to the construction plans because it's just the addition of a screen in the back of the building. And there will also be a flagpole, which wasn't in the original, vehicle. As far as Harbordale Elementary, as we have also discussed, there are quite a few delays as far as the Broward County School Board into getting the playground, but we're currently in the permitting. Once we get the permit approved, then the playground gets to get installed. We're also adding additional shades by installation of nice canopy trees. And again, once we already have a contractor engaged by means of, I believe we piggybacked, Mark? Yes, we piggybacked off of that, which saved a lot of the procurement. That's why the procurement time is already in the past, because when you're going to the school board, you kind of have to have the contractor already selected. So that one was a little bit backwards. The procurement came first, now we're finalizing the permitting process. Our next one is the Providence Park, which is a very small project that was on hold for a little while, but now we are actually proceeding forward. There were issues with the park benches for a while, and now there is a desire to bring back the park benches. So we're moving forward to selecting maybe a cute little design as part of a piggyback process. or quick, like a solicitation, quick bid process since the value is so low.
And so, you also have a document on your desk that says corresponding progress report. And this is a report that we are going to be providing to the board on a regular basis to make sure that you understand where we are with the process. Today I provided a print copy for everything. I normally won't do that, but we weren't sure how fonts would look on the screen. I wanted to make sure that you could see it just in case it wasn't legible here. But going forward, you'll receive it and you'll have it electronically.
I have a little feedback.
Yes, sir.
I'm so glad that this is a good segue. I saw that each one of those slides that you have those 5 sections where planning and all that, and then you have the dates, right? And you also have the funding one. Could we have a dashboard for all these projects? Because you already have at the back of which one? This one?
Of the carbon progress report.
Right. But yeah, this one, right?
That is every single project.
Okay.
Right? So what you have there, and we'll go through it very quickly today.
Okay.
I'll try to be very quick, but yes, there is a dashboard of every single project, and you'll see it when we get there. So this is a standard report that we provide to you on a regular basis, right? It will come with a contents page. We try to track the history of the project, the key milestones. This page here will have what we call an introduction. We're going to actually track the history of the bond. We'll talk about when the different issues, the bond issues were released. And so when we actually get to the third tranche, we'll definitely add this to the score. Next page. All right, so here's the definition. When we get to that table that you're talking about, that you referenced, you'll see us reference whether the projects are completed in construction, design and permitting, design only, future tranche, hold, close, and cancel. And we try to define this here. We'll keep it in the document so that you'll remember when you get there, you see completed, so you'll know what it exactly means. Next one. All right, so here we are tracking through this pie chart the status of all of the projects that we have identified within the bond. So it says 116 projects because it tracks the phases as well. So when we break up holiday park into 4 phases, it's not one project anymore. It shows up in the data as 4 projects. So as you'll see here, we have 25 projects that have been completed, and you'll see that in the tabular form when we move through. We have 12 projects that are currently in active construction. And then you'll see the 44, which is the largest segment, single segment. But those are the projects that are in the future tranches or in the very early project initiation phase. And that information is in a tabular form on the next page. And then we can continue. And so every month, when I was here last time, I mentioned to you that every month so far, we have been issuing a letter to commission, giving them an update on the projects that are really, really active, that are ongoing, whether in construction or design, the ones that the community reaches out to us most frequently. So I promised that I would share that with you guys and we'll include it in the report. Once it gets issued, we'll go ahead and include it here. As long as it is issued, so the last one that was issued was for June in July, but you will have a copy of it here. It's a little bit dated, but you'll have it for your records just so that you can show how progress is going. And you'll see it focuses on different projects. It talks about upcoming closures. That way you have that information handy, for your records. That LCC also includes this map that we have here that shows the location of all the different projects that are in the different phases. And it's updated each time we issue an LCC. It's updated to make sure that we show the proper phase of the project. All right, so this page talks about what's coming up next. We have a working document that we're tracking every single project that's within the parks bond. We are looking at scope, existing funding, the phase it is, what district it's in, what neighborhood it's in. So it's a huge table. But from that, we're going to extract information. Today, you have information on the name of the project, district, phase, scope of work, the progress that we've made in the last 30 days, the project budget, schedule, start of construction. As we get a little bit more detailed. We might even give you. We're trying to update the chart with the financials, so you'll see actual spending. You know, as real time as we can get. Now, real time as we can get, it could be 2 months old, because that's when how often the information gets pulled from the finance department. But we're going to try and make sure that we can keep you up to date of how we're spending that money, and that will be included in future reports. So, just in the report, you'll see that on the first page, you'll see all the projects that have been completed in the bond since its inception. Right, I believe there's 25 of them. Right, and then you'll see the projects that are actively in construction as you move through them. When you get to pre-construction, that means we have a contractor ready. You know, we're probably getting permits. We're getting them ready to start construction. Then you have the bidding phase, which is when, of course, we're getting bids from the contractor. And then that awkward phase of design permitting, so we have the design almost done, but we're getting feedback from the different agencies that have jurisdiction, and we're making adjustments to it. And so we don't have that final 100%. So this is all of the projects, all of the scopes of work. You'll see narratives as to the progress of the work. And this is real time. This is what we actually pull from to provide updates to commissioners on a monthly or on a weekly basis. Some of them like to get weekly updates. That way you'll have that information as close to our meeting date as possible.
Could you send us this electronically? Like I believe this is an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes.
It's like an Excel spreadsheet, right? Could you send it to us, please?
Share my Excel spreadsheet. Does it have to be in Excel?
No, it doesn't have to be. Just send it whichever way you have. I'll put it in Excel.
We'll share it. Okay. And that was basically it. But that, we can get into the details of the report. And I'll definitely try and make sure that you have it before the meeting so that you can ask any questions regarding the progress and any other questions that you have. But this gives you a good idea of where any project that you have special interest in, where it is in the scheme of things and what we're doing to advance.
Just one comment. I think you're all taking on a monumental task and doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Your hard work shows. Thank you. Okay. Amy, please present.
Yes, department updates. Or I'll be less than 3 minutes. Let's have about 2.5. Slide. Good evening, everyone. Amy Jane Baptiste, Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation. As we're transitioning from the summer to the fall, we have less events, but when we transition from to the fall, we will have plenty of events. Probably only have all right, Jazz Brunch is on September 6th, 3 stages, 3 artists. What I will add is we are removing one of the stages as PACA, which is the Performing Arts Center. There's some conflict there, so we'll be moving forward with 2 stages moving forward. But this month will be the last one with the 3 stages. Labor Day Festival. This event used to be called Pre-Labor Day, but we rebranded. So it's a Labor Day Festival. It's in the Galt Mile area, so the North Beach Restaurants and Shops area off of A1A and Oakland Park Boulevard. We'll have a car show and some entertainment as well. So if you'd like to come out, it's a great event. And Carter Park Jams is our music series. This is number 3 for the year, and it's on September 18th from 7 to 10. And our sandbag distribution, this is a citywide distribution for our residents at 5 locations throughout all the districts. Is it all the districts? Well, yeah, it's all throughout the districts. And it's on the 3rd Saturday and Sunday of every month. The next one is September 19th and 20th. So we're just a little over halfway through the season. And I'm excited. I'll be excited when the season is over. And I believe that's all the updates I have for today. Oh, good job. I will say the Starlight Musical, I went to the last one, and the park staff did a phenomenal job keeping things clean throughout the event. It was really lighted once I got off the gravel, not in the parking lot. And yeah, and then they gave out prizes. Has anybody done Starlight Musical lately? It's been a minute for me, but they have raffles going on. So people are walking around and I thought they were trying to sell jewelry. I wish I had gotten a raffle because they were giving out like Trader Joe's, coupons. It was like really good stuff. But yeah, good job to the parks team. They were all dressed in their t-shirts and they did a great job keeping things clean. Yeah, so that was nice. All right, new business. So I know we have new business. I think I'm gonna go back to. I have two items before we go to your item, Vanessa. So the first item is This is our last day here, meeting here. We will be meeting at 101 Tower, starting at next month's meeting, and it's on the 11th floor. And Nellie will send the information out so you know what it does. But this room is going to be turned into a training room, I'm told. So, did you hear that, Rachel?
Absolutely, I heard
Okay,
it.
very good. So don't come here. Follow Nellie's directions and go on Broward Boulevard and 3rd to that building. And they will have a parking pass for us that they'll give us each time.
It's free
So,
after 5, I think.
oh, good. Okay, because I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So City Hall, the old City Hall parking lot.
Okay.
Free after 5.
Okay. And then the second item is there is a conflict with our December meeting and the one that the commission is holding. So we were supposed to meet December 2nd. We now have to choose another date so that the other two options that the staff found for us are December 1st or December 8th. December 1st is a Monday.
They're both on Tuesdays.
Oh, they're both on Tuesday? Okay, both on Tuesdays. Yeah, this is Wednesday. Thank you.
I'm fine with either one.
Okay.
What was that again?
So it's either December 1st or December 8th if you can make the adjustment.
I'm fine with either.
Okay.
I can't do the 8th.
Okay.
I cannot do the 8th.
All right, so it's the
No.
first.
The
it is.
first.
Because y'all are the only board members here. What about you, Nizar?
December 1st is fine.
Okay, please put it in your calendars now. And then there'll be an update.
on the train.
Oh, okay. Yes.
and
Okay.
we have to do
Is that be
a
roll call vote?
vote.
Okay. Can I please have a roll call vote for December 1st?
Well, a motion.
I'll make
Oh,
a
yeah,
motion to
sorry,
change our December meeting to December 1st.
Second.
The
One
first.
moment. The first, December 1st.
Yes, the Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
6 p.m. as well, right?
Yes.
I want it here.
Put that in your motion. I think you need to restate your motion.
I want to training
Okay.
event or whatever.
Can we please have a roll call?
Yes.
Yeah, no worries.
Mr. Walpole?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Coffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Island?
Yes.
Mrs. Lofty?
This is for the.
This is for it's changing December 2nd to
Oh,
December
yes,
1st.
yes, yes, yes.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you. Now, so for the third new business I believe we have, I do want to say, I'm going to give a quick recap. I'm trying to be brief about the recap, but I want to say in appreciation for Parks and Rec, they immediately got onto this issue. So we did decide on the May 27th meeting to put a letter to the commission. I sent an email to Carl the next day. He immediately got on it. We had discussions that day and the next day about the best avenue and what was expected and what's protocol. And so from that discussion, I said, okay, we won't move forward with the letter, but I'll bring it back to the board when we next meet, which was June, but we didn't have quorum. So that's how it let it go. However, if you remember, May 27th, we said we wanted to do a letter to commission.
Yes.
They were meeting June 2nd. That's 2 working days for Parks and Rec to put together what was needed to get to the commission. I believe they went above and beyond by at least making sure there was a note to the commission. So that's what Carl or whoever, who does your work, Carl? Whoever does your work, made sure that at least our minutes were approved because normally there's a delay in the minutes. So I said at a minimum, if that was the solution we came up with, to present our minutes to the commission in their packet, which was also read by the resident during the conference meeting.
The president,
I'm sorry.
which was read by the president.
No, it was read by a resident.
Resident.
Not president, resident in the commission meeting.
Okay.
So when I saw that in the conference video, I was like, okay, what we wanted got communicated, and there were other people filling the room
Yes.
saying similar things.
Yes.
So that's where we are. I just want to give the context for how Parks and Rec showed up and tried to make sure that our wishes were communicated as quickly as they could for the June 2nd meeting. now we're at the point where we can talk about a motion or a discussion on what to do next.
So I hear you. I appreciate this has nothing to do with the city staff or any of what happened with you guys or not at all. I mean the minutes are here too. We did have quorum in May. We did agree to write a letter to commission as a board. We did not. I understand there was a time they were, the meeting was whatever. This is nothing to do with the city staff. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely would never argue anything against that ever. I'm wondering where to go from here because we didn't write that letter that the board agreed to submit. We have the letter. I don't see why it's not taking anybody's time. We're all volunteers anyway, but it's not taking any more time. We just need to submit it like officially because we didn't. And then it's like officially on the record, even though somebody read it and it's in the minutes. I mean, there's a reason we have a letter to commission because it's official. So I don't see the harm in that. And I think that it's very important because we did get our point across that I don't think that we were heard because we were not heard. And I didn't hear any reference from any of the commissioners saying, well, this is what the Parks Advisory Board suggested, or this is what they said, and this is why we should consider these things. It was completely not heard, and I just think it wouldn't hurt to just get our point officially.
So
Alrighty,
Before a
all
motion is
agree to.
presented, I just want to say we could do a letter to commission, I believe, or
That's-
communication to
Communication.
commission. It'd be
So,
communication to commission.
so to kind of bring some context, so if you want to do a letter, that's something that you all would do as a board, and then that is sent directly to the commission. Communication to the commission is really during a conference meeting.
I mean, what
To
did we
be a
agree
part
on?
of the discussion.
So I believe we agreed on a letter to commission.
Whatever we
It's on-
voted on 527, it's in our minutes.
Yeah,
in
it
front
says
of
letter
us.
to the
Like,
commission.
let's just do that.
So okay, so let's have a motion, and then we'll have a second, and then some discussion.
I mean, it's a
and then
motion to approve what we already voted on.
you guys
I
voted
mean,
on this?
like we voted
No,
on
we didn't
this
vote.
in May.
We
had
agreed
quorum.
in May to
I think we
do a
voted on
letter
this.
to commission.
she's right. We voted on this.
Board
right?
We
reached
did vote on that.
consensus to prepare a letter to commission requesting modifications. We had quorum. This was in May.
We
We
were
did vote on
We
that.
said
unanimous
we
in that.
already
And
voted.
then I was supposed to bring the letter back in June, and we didn't have quorum in June to approve the letter. So
So there was a motion,
Yes.
but because the board has already approved,
Yeah.
you guys can just.
okay, oh good.
But I have a deeper question. I think this relates to everything that we do as a board. I've never seen ourselves presenting to the commission. It's always been like, okay, we are here, we say stuff, we approve minutes, but I've never been in front of the board, and I don't. In front of the commission. I don't understand how do they get our whatever work we are doing as an advice board. I'm glad you brought this up because writing that letter.
What's the point?
What's the point? I mean, not only that, it's like, okay, they're a phone call away or they are just about, a couple of blocks away. Isn't there a time that when we discuss here, what we decide gets presented officially to them?
So it did happen. I'm sorry.
So there's multiple avenues. So the board's premise is to be a bridge from staff to the commission. You are the ones that provide any recommendations, any thoughts, any feelings on a variety of different topics. Now, if there's ever a time that you want to have a conversation directly with a commissioner, that's kind of why you're appointed by a commissioner to have that dialogue directly with them. Now, as a board, as a body, you all vote on any communications that you want directly to commissioner for a specific project, portion, comment, whatever, and that is read during a conference agenda, which is how we call it communications to commission. Those are typically a few sentences long. Now, in this particular case, I think the letter itself, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier, is that that letter was captured in the minutes. That was a part of the information that was shared with the commission and also was said at the commission during the topic. So I just wanted to make sure that the board knew that they were heard regarding that, so that there wasn't any kind of thought that the information wasn't shared.
There was a previous letter to the commission that Vice Chair Alex wrote, and that was read to the conference. And at that time, I was invited to speak on behalf of the board and read that letter during the conference meeting, and then answer questions from the commission. So I think that would be the same thing with this letter. And May, who here was also there to vote? Can you tell us, Ms. Daniels?
It's in the minutes.
May, yeah, it's right here. We all have the notes for May. There was 8 of us.
Oh, Steve is here. Okay. So I just want to make sure, like, we already voted on it and we're in agreement. I understand, Patricia, you'd rather probably.
Yeah, I really think May, I
attach to
abstained.
it.
I did not say yes.
Patricia was upset. Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like, I communicate with my commissioner regularly. I think that's our job.
Me too.
Yeah,
I do that too.
To pull these what we discuss in meetings and take it back to the commissioner and let them know this is what's going on. But I think in my mind, this project has, well, first of all, I don't want to say
Yeah, I know.
that this could get very litigious for the city and cost the city millions of dollars because of this agreement that's already in place. So I feel very strongly that we just need to, be as conservative as possible. But I can guarantee you, as a professional historian, you are not stepping on bones or anything important, artifacts, and there's nothing there to protect. So I mean, if that's the issue, I feel very strongly that shouldn't be the issue. But
I appreciate that. That's not my concern by any means. The bones or the historic, bless all the bones, hearts, whatever. That's not my concern at all. I don't want artificial grass. I know that my district, I'm the District 4 rep for the council. I've heard nothing in favor from my district of 4 pickleball courts or artificial grass. Everyone's very against it, and I'm speaking up for my district, myself, and it has nothing to do on my part for artifacts or historical stuff. I appreciate artifacts and historical stuff, but that's not what this is about, and that's the point of this board. I speak to my commissioner daily, but that's the point of this board, right? Is that we can all agree, which we all did unanimously in May, to put these thoughts in front of the commission, and so I just want them in front of the commission officially. And that's all I'm saying.
If you all are going to move forward with this, I wasn't here in May. If you all are going to move forward with this, I would like an official vote, because reading the minutes, it doesn't say it was unanimous. It doesn't tell me who made the motion. It just says that you had a consensus, and I believe the consensus was to draft the letter, and the letter would be officially voted on the following meeting, which you guys didn't have a quorum for. But there's just a consensus to move forward with drafting. I don't see an official vote on these
But
things.
it's
I don't recall a
definitely, if you listen to the recording as well as watch, I don't know if I've watched this a few times, you can see that there was a
So there was so the minutes were not adequately captured, because it doesn't say who made the motion or
So I'm not the minutes writer. I just am the attending clerk. And so I can notate that in the minutes now, if you all want to reference the fact that you want us to go back and capture who voted what way. I mean, we can do that. If you all,
I'd like to make a motion to go back and see if we need to do that. I just want this because it was voted on. I remember specifically unanimously from our board. I remember Ted and Sarah there speaking about. I
don't think it has to be a motion. I think we're just
my
asking.
daughter was here.
I don't remember the vote
So I don't
portion.
know.
I
I
wasn't
remember the vote portion, because I don't think at that meeting I would have voted for it, and I wouldn't intend to vote for it tonight, and I'll give you my reason why. Personally speaking, I feel the appropriate number of pickleball courts. Okay, I don't know if it was that one, or I thought it was the last meeting in June I wasn't there for. I've only missed one.
Well,
Anyway,
it says in the May meeting you weren't there. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So that's why you don't remember being there.
Okay.
Which is fine.
All right. So as I was saying, I think that my opinion is the appropriate number of pickleball courts for the beach is 0. However, I understand the city's desire to be part of the interlocal agreement, and I know that they had originally started off as 2, which is not enough if you're going to put a pickleball facility in place. Probably 4 is not even enough in that regard, so I wouldn't even change it from that. Again, I don't see how anybody's going to play pickleball when there's a strong east wind throughout the entire winter, but I think that ship has sailed, and there's probably better things for the commission to spend their time on at this point.
So I think we can just request the staff pull up the conference, our last meeting, please, and look at if there was a full vote, and we'll go from there. And I'm good with drafting a letter to commission based off the full vote that we had at the time.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah.
Stated for the record, I will.
Okay, so I'm asking Parks and Rec staff to review the May 27, 2026 meeting to determine if there was an official vote regarding a letter to the commission about requesting modifications to the conceptual design, including the removal of artificial turf in favor of natural landscaping materials, reducing the number of pickleball courts from 4 to 2, and allowing additional time for public input and outreach.
You said you want rec staff to do that?
Or whoever, I don't know who does this kind of
I
thing.
just want to make sure I
Yes,
indicate
that's
who you want.
Okay.
Just making sure. Just
The
clarify.
genies.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure. The very special people who do all the little work. Yes. Yes. Parks and Rec. And then from there would be a letter to the commission, and then, or based off that assessment and the fact to making another motion. Yeah.
I feel like
I feel
we already agreed. Like, let's just send it.
I hear everybody. I hear Patricia's perspective. I hear Steve. I hear yours. I do think with this issue, it did make a difference when the public spoke out. That's all I'll say. So, any other new business?
I just also feel like if the majority of us were in agreement for it, then why not just do it? Okay.
You're free to make a motion if you want to make the motion now. You're free to make a motion.
I don't know what motion to make. I mean, to write the letter that we already agreed to write.
I think we should just, the request is just to look at the
I
video
just
and
know
see
the
what it says.
timeliness of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if now we have to wait another month to get a result to submit a letter when we're in design stage or whatever, like, I don't know how quickly this needs to be done. And
So-
if nobody feels as strongly as I do, or if nobody else cares, then I will let it go. I'm just saying, we all agreed in May, so if nobody else cares anymore, then I'll let it go.
Yeah. So
I'm
my
just saying.
point is that I care. I totally care.
I feel like we're
And-
beating a dead horse.
Yeah. I mean,
I know
I voted
you
for
guys
it.
are beating a dead horse, but this is the thing is nobody's like.
I
We're like,
know.
oh, I don't care anymore, and I
I
think
think
so
that
what
is
has
a done
happened?
deal. It's not.
and that's why I say it shouldn't be a done deal.
It's a misfortune that we have missed it. The timing is not there. That's the only thing I think everybody else is saying is that
Then let's just quit.
yeah, the timing is off now, right? Because now if we send a letter, this has already been discussed, right? So I think that's where
That
we are.
was the city's advice, yeah. The city staff.
Timing is the key.
Yeah.
And you're saying the public has already
Continues to show
Yeah.
up.
It's on the front page of the Sun Sentinel every once in a while. Like Iran, 60,000 people died. Pickleball courts.
Yeah.
So
It's new.
However, at the May meeting, we were, I think it was Mr. Cloud said that there is public input is welcome throughout the process and including the design phases. So that's what we're
and to
asking.
put it bluntly, the commission is totally ignoring it.
Which is why I feel like we need to make it official what our stance is and our public
It won't matter.
input.
It won't make a
well
difference.
then so we quit? Then what are we doing here as
No,
a
no.
board?
I'm not going to quit, but I think this is one of those issues that always happens, right? That public wants something, the commission says X, Y, Z, and it just
Right, then
happens.
let's
So
just-
so to
I don't
kind of hear what you're saying, as a board member, you can make a motion, and if the motion passes, then move forward. But there'll need to be a second, and then you all can vote on that. So I want to make sure that
Yeah.
understood.
Okay. So let's just wait and see
Sure.
if there was an actual motion and vote.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I'd support you more. I'd support this, but
Yeah.
insane.
I don't think
It sounds to me like it's just like, well, it doesn't matter, so what's the point? And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And we do go and we do all speak out, and that's why at that conference meeting and at the commission meeting, people come and speak out, and they speak, and
Nothing happens.
40 people will come speak, and the commission will vote against what we all speak against or for, whatever. And so, what is the point of the board if we are giving up? And
I don't think we're giving up, but I hear your frustration.
Well,
And I
yeah,
hear everybody is able to talk and
yeah. No, I'm sorry,
no.
but I don't want you to feel like what you're saying isn't heard. It's just that as a board, as a body, your role is to provide that recommendation. Now, commission has the ability to either accept that recommendation or to move in a different direction.
absolutely, but we didn't officially provide it as the board agreed to provide it officially. That is what I'm saying. We agreed, maybe not voting or whatever. We heard the notes,
And just to clarify, so when we did this last time with Alex and the letter,
Yes.
a letter was drafted, and
Yes.
then the next meeting we read the letter to make sure everybody
There
was in
was a
agreement. So I didn't.
Sure.
There was a different
It's all
decision made, but also we didn't have quorum in June. Otherwise, I would have been able to present that. So, hearing no other business, is there any other new business? Okay, hearing no other business, you're welcome. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. 8:02. Bye, Rachel.
Bye, guys. See you next.
See ya. You missed
Okay.